Today is day 5 of the July 95 7-day retreat in Springwater. It's hot. Hot and breezy. And humid. And birds singing. Plane humming. All the trembling leaves and branches. The sound of it. The feel of it. Is it here? Just as oneself is here right now, this instant. By oneself, I mean this, sitting here. In all simplicity. Seeing that words about it and reactions to it are just elaboration of what is, but not what is. Sounds, sights, experiencing heat and breeze. Is that clear? The difference between experiencing and thinking about the experience. How hot I am. I wish I was in a colder place. Be nice to jump into the pond. Thinking about it. Is that different from just one instant of pure experiencing? Pure listening. Pure awareness. One instant. In which words may come and go, like clouds in the sky. Reactions may come and go like thunderstorms. And can it all be held in pure awareness? The thoughts that come, the reactions that are elicited by the thoughts, the emotions that unfold with further thinking about how fortunate I am or how unfortunate I am. Beholding the emotions, how it feels in the body, contractions in places of the body, heaviness in the head, cramped feelings, stress, maybe on the chest, pain in the heart, a queasy stomach, or riled up intestines, all coming with thought about something, what happened, and labeling it, I'm angry or I'm afraid. Even the simple label has an impact on this body-mind. In its diversity of movements, internal and external. Labeling something as anger is not the same as listening inwardly. What is happening? What is it? And leaving those words go too. And just what's there. An upset belly, someone mentioned it to me last night, upset. And was that anger? One didn't quite know if it was anger or not, but here it was. And detecting the habitual reactions, I don't want this, or reveling in angry feelings. I two sides to this, and many more than two. Sermonizing oneself about it, justifying oneself about righteous anger, and the tremendous urge to express it. I think the person said that, feeling like pounding something. Or somebody. And yet not doing any of that, just burning with it, if you will. Agonizing with it wordlessly. The word agonizing usually means verbalization about it. I didn't mean it. Paining, burning. Just this and the breeze? Is there room for that? It's there. Is it? Even though there's listening to the talk and maybe feeling physical sensations, whatever they may be right now. A heated body, maybe some tensions, neck and shoulders or back, knees, hips, feet. And there's also the sound of leaves and branches, isn't there? All has room. It all exists simultaneously and can be so perceived with a mind that is choicelessly open. And not totally caught up in resistance. A little bit caught up in resistance? Can one look? I've heard this so many times. You don't tell me anything new. I don't like your style. All this manifestation of meanness may be nothing more than a stream of resistance or a ball of resistance. Against what's there. Anyways, whether it's noticed or not. So maybe with this we come to the question that occupied 9 people yesterday afternoon for a whole hour. It would have gone on had there been no time, about what is this me, what is this I? Why does one put the question in the first place? Is it academic, philosophical, theological? Or does it excrete from suffering, from feeling burdened with all one's imagery we talked about yesterday, self-consciousness? Hemmed in on all sides by what we call self-consciousness, seeing myself in negative images, negative ways, fearing that I will not be liked, and yet needing to please and never quite making it, feeling misunderstood and sorry for oneself. Feeling so superior to others because of my accomplishments. One's pride, the momentary satisfaction of it, and then the pain of it. If one thinks that one should not have pride, one should be selfless. Wondering whether there can be, at least for a moment, some freedom from this straitjacket of having to be in a certain way all the time. Maybe even in one's dreams, although they are usually a little bit freer. Less control, therefore more emergence of suppressed materials, remembrances and experiences. Is that where the question comes from? I'm improvising here for all of us. And we have groups and meetings to add to the stream of improvisation. In other words, in saying what is being said, I'm not attempting to characterize everyone here in this room. If one feels one is not like that, like what has just been improvised, can one still listen and take it openly? Because if it's not this, it's that about myself. There's always something about myself which feels either pleasurable or burdensome or outright painful, depressing or anxiety arousing. So, as soon as the question was put, the thinking mind manifesting in 9 different people, so it appears in memory, was trying to make a case for this I, for this me or else. No case. But there are a number of voices sort of insisting on the accuracy that this body, this is my body, and it's different from your body. I'm not your body. You're not my body. My experiences aren't yours. Yours aren't mine. And this body, when sick or ailing, is my body who's sick, and I'm suffering. Forget all the different things that were mentioned, but they're all so familiar to us because we wrestle with this as long as we're doing this work and have been doing it in different spiritual traditions. This thing pops up everywhere. What is this I? The I is an illusion. It's not real. Get rid of it. Overcome it. It's the enemy to clarity, prevents enlightenment. I remember reading at the time in the 3 pillars that just before Kensho enlightenment, there has to be this hand-to-hand combat with the self, with the me, with the I. That's how it was expressed by someone or by a teacher. So, can we start, if we're interested in this question, which is there stewing, boiling, bubbling, a little bit more submerged at times, more surfacing at others? Can we deal with it or go into it freshly this morning? Is that possible, to let go of everything we've ever thought about the I? Our investment in it, holding on to it? It's probably not possible. We're so used to it. It's so part and parcel of our thinking. It's very hard to be aware of it. It's so felt to be the truth that there is an I here, there is something that's there all the time. Or if not all the time, it's right back there after a moment maybe of quietness and openness. There it is again, my personality, which is different from your personalities. No two are completely alike. So how quietly, how subtly and openly can all of us listen freshly and look anew? And from where are we looking? Let's look at that right now. Is there investment? Do we want to come out realizing there is something to it? I don't have to give it up. I'm afraid you're going to talk me into giving it up. Or I may feel I have to renunciate this thing to be a good meditator, to have clear awareness. And I'm afraid of that renunciation, afraid of what's going to be left when that goes. Can one notice these feelings and these ideas and the physical state of anxiety that goes with it? We all want to be something, somebody. And it's imaged in the mind. Manifold images of what we want to be and what we don't want to be. So this instant of questioning together, what is this persistent feeling of I, of me? Are we questioning out of investment, holding on to something, fear of losing? And if so, can that be illuminated right now as the wind blows wildly? Not try to get rid of it. That's too much. It's not needed. All that's needed is to see what's there. This conditioned body-mind to think it is separate, it is enduring, or something in there is enduring, something in there attached to is me. So, this moment, sitting here together, in quiet listening. Is there quiet listening? Somewhat quiet listening? Thoughts about myself come up, do they? Can they be seen? Imagery about myself? Emotions? Fears? Dreams? Fantasies? Ideas of what I was, what I will be, or what I am right now? Is it an open question, or is there something solid to it? The body feels relatively solid. Unless it is permeated with awareness. And that can happen right now, feeling, experiencing sensations. As the wind blows in and out, the breath comes and goes. What sensation that there is right now, wherever it may be, is really solid in the presence of wind and listening and breathing. Isn't it all one constant movement of energy, even in its seeming stuckness. Not to take the word for the real. If there's feeling of stuckness, what is it? And allow it to be permeated with wind and awareness and breathing and not knowing. What am I? Asking myself. Right now, memory doesn't want to come up about all kinds of things about myself. The mind wants to be here, open, listening, sensing, aware, with no need to hold on to anything. Am I speaking for others? I'm sure it's there for everyone, and yet something feels so attached, does it, or doesn't it? What is it that feels real about myself? Quote unquote. That there is a body here, knowledge about what I am, my age, my name, my history, personality was brought up yesterday. Definite character each one of us has, or seemingly has, temporarily. In relationship to the age, or the presumed age of this universe, the age of this character that's sitting here is less than a firefly, much less than that. You not no time even to light up almost. And yet, from the point of view of me as this body, from the point of view of me identified with this personality, things look in a certain way. The world looks in a certain way, and it is frightening or pleasurable, changing from one to the other. Always looked at from me as identified with my body and my personality, my mind, my soul. And we're questioning this whole process of identification, which is a thought process, age-old, hasn't started with oneself. We were born into it. Those who received us as a member of their family identified us, at first with a name, and then with characteristics which were maybe randomly manifesting. And the identification, you're like this, you're like that, sort of sticks. The body begins to manifest what it is told it is, how it is acting, how it is reacting, how it looks. And of course the mind with it, body and mind are inseparable, unit. So, seeing ourselves as others see us, experiencing ourselves as others tell us we are. Maybe at times experiencing ourselves differently, but clamoring in this world of naming and describing and explaining, to explain and describe ourselves all the time as this or that. And with that self-description comes a certain rigidifying of this body, becoming molded, we say, in a certain form, certain habits, which we believe is me. That's what I am. Because it's very obvious, very manifest, and people react to me in that way. Molds reacting with molds. I think the only way to truly observe me and I, the birth of the self or the rebirth of the self, is to sit quietly or walk quietly, lie down quietly. Maybe a moment of spaciousness, no identification with this personality, this character, these traits, this body. And then a thought arising about myself. That's the rebirth of me. And watch what goes on. I don't have to tell anyone. People tell me. Felt so peaceful, and all of a sudden I remembered something made me so angry, so anxious, so upset. What has happened? Out of empty, open listening, being, the thought about myself with a remembrance, and all the emotions, often also remembered emotions, because emotions felt in the past with a past experience are instantly triggerable now. Partly through memory, but the juices that flow are the same. And the story runs which way? Let's listen to it. We can listen to it when we talk to each other. The language doesn't even allow for saying anything without, I had this experience. This is what happened to me as I was walking through the woods. Or is it becoming increasingly clear that the language is just a rough approximation to something one wants to describe and convey to someone else, which does not involve identification with the walking through the woods, an arising of a thought, a memory, a reaction to it of fear. It's just what's happening in this universe, not just in these woods. The woods are part of the whole. So are we walking there. And everything that's ever happened has determined the way this organism is walking and thinking and dreaming and reacting. And when there's some measure of stillness and awareness underlying it all, then it is amazing how automatic everything happens. No one doing it. A thought and the reaction and the thoughts out of the reaction. All bing, bing, bing going on. No one doing it. No one responsible for it. Except for all of life. Responsible for all of life. And when self walking or sitting, a momentary manifestation of this amazing, really unfathomable life process, life energy. Part of that says, I am this, I am that. And since this body is so sensitive, so responsive, so delicate in its reactions and in its nervous system that brings experiences of pain, displeasure, discomfort so quickly, so convincingly. The belief is there that it is happening to me as thought about myself. I am having this pain, rather than paining, discomforting, fearing, angering, wishing, hoping, remembering. Listening. Is it possible for this brain, which wants an explanation for everything, a cause for everything, a single cause for millions of effects? That's what the brain is looking for. Is it possible for this brain, with all of its conditioned habits of thinking? I forgot what I was going to say. It's gone. It's amazing that it usually sticks for a while. So memory has a function, to remember how the sentence started. Oh. The brain thinks there must be a creator of this world, of this universe, of life on earth, whichever the context is in which the mind happens to find itself. Maybe because human beings create babies, give birth to babies, and the earth gives birth to vegetation. Animals give birth to young ones. There must be a creator of this whole thing. And it can only think in its conditioned ways. One cause, one creator for what is created. And of course, with regard to quote unquote my life, what a concept that is. My life. We say it all the time. What am I going to do with my life? I need to change something in my life. Look at it. It's amazing, isn't it? My life. Am I the creator of it? I think I am. Or one thinks one is. Or does one? Maybe not how I came to be born. That was egg and sperm, my parents getting together. But where did I become the creator of my life that has to come up with success, meaning, fruits, showing for something? Is that our way of thinking that causes such distress in considering I have made nothing of my life so far? Such amazing thinking. Really, this whole organism is functioning from moment to moment, from second to second, in the most miraculous and mysterious ways. Often happens with people I'm closest to here on staff, wondering after a while, I ought to do something in this world. Got to do something for society. Ideas. Isn't this society, what we're doing here? Isn't this all of us? As we spread out again into our families, maybe different places, different countries, different jobs. Where is there any separation between what is happening here at this place, in this body-mind, and the world out there? I don't see it. Anything anyone does at any moment, or what happens with anyone, the language is so dualistic, is happening for everyone, everywhere, at all times. Or no time. So what am I this morning, this moment, this morning? If the process of identification with this body, thinking about myself as this body, as this mind, as this soul, as this character, is for a moment interrupted by pure listening, simple awareness, unidentified. Thought comes up, a thought goes. An emotion wells up, an emotion recedes. Its stillness remains. Empty of entities who are so transient, so temporary, so ever-changing. In this unchanging stillness, quietness, empty of need or lack or want. I've probably not answered individual people's concerns about themselves. How can we address individual concerns about ourselves and yet be in touch with this vast silence and openness of one life energy? And yet that's the question that comes up, how to reconcile this empty openness, undivided wholeness, which these are all words, but they're not just words. It's really so. How can that be reconciled with our daily self-concerned, anxious, fearful, and constantly wanting lives? One person said, maybe the two just dance with each other. But the mind can get so quickly caught up in a metaphor and love it and not see anything. Can openness and stillness dance with anger, fear, caught upness in memory and anticipation? It's a good question. And where's the question coming from? Is it coming out of caught upness in oneself and one's problems and fears for one's survival, fear for one's life, fear for one's reputation, whatever all our fears are, for one's image? Is it coming out of that caught upness, that enclosure? There's no seeing in that enclosure. There's only thinking and fretting and worrying and trying to convince oneself and others of ideas. And yet the clouds do open and the sun comes through. It's always there, hidden by the clouds. The shell breaks open for who knows what reason. And then maybe light is shed on the conditions inside the shell. Seeing our conditioning as conditioning, to the way we think, the way we attach, the way we identify, seeing it as conditioning, programs. Not seeing all of them all the time. There's always another one, or a new one. But seeing them as conditioning. Is that seeing liberation? Not what is seen, but the seeing, the shedding light. On shell existence, or enclosed, conditioned existence. Shedding light on it. Not I'm doing it, there's no one doing it, it happens. It's the biggest miracle of all that it happens. To no one, it happens in life. Language says it happened to me, or it happened to you, or him or her. But when things are clear and open and light, not heavy, light, then in looking and examining, there is no one to whom it is happening. Because that conditioned way of thinking is quiet. No energy flowing through it to activate it at this moment. Energy is here and listening, and being, one knows not what. Maybe we can say it is out of this openness and not attachment to identifications which are programmed into this organism. Seeing these these identifications for what they are, the programs, the wiring. Out of that openness and seeing and understanding, we can work in the world. No difference what we may be doing. It'll have a freshness to it, a fresh new energy. We will end here for today.